Tomatoes, bright, juicy and versatile, are one of the most popular vegetables in gardens around the world. From fresh salads to savory sauces, nearly every home cook loves them. But growing them can be trickier than it looks. Welcome to Timeless Gardening, where we help you grow your garden smarter, not harder. Today I'm going to show you the 5 mistakes that could be secretly sabotaging your tomato harvest, and how to fix them before it's too late. Stick around until the end for a bonus tip that could transform your tomatoes from good to absolutely spectacular. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1 is planting your tomatoes too early. Many gardeners get excited as soon as the last frost passes and rush to put their seedlings in the ground. But tomato plants are sensitive to cold, and planting them before the soil and nighttime temperatures are right can stunt their growth, shock their roots and make them highly susceptible to disease. Even a few chilly nights can set your plants back weeks, leaving you with a smaller, weaker harvest. Tomatoes thrive when the soil temperature reaches at least 60 degrees Fahrenheit. If you plant before this point, the roots struggle to absorb nutrients, and the seedlings may sit there, doing very little while they wait for warmth. This isn't just about patience, it's about giving your plants the strongest start possible. Testing your soil with a simple thermometer can save you from planting too soon and having to watch your hard work struggle or fail. If you're eager to get an early start, there are ways to help your soil warm up safely. Covering your garden beds with black plastic mulch traps, heat and gently raises soil temperature, creating a cozy environment for your young plants. Row covers or cloches can also protect seedlings from unexpected cold snaps while letting in sunlight and air. These small steps make a huge difference in establishing healthy, vigorous plants. Waiting for the right planting conditions may feel frustrating, especially when the garden season is short. But it pays off. Early planted tomatoes that face cold stress often never fully recover, and you could end up with fewer fruits and weaker plants throughout the season. By timing your planting carefully, testing your soil, and using protective measures if needed, you give your tomatoes the best chance to thrive and reward you with a bountiful, flavorful harvest. Mistake number 2 is inconsistent watering. Tomatoes need steady, reliable moisture to grow strong and produce juicy fruits. Many gardeners either water too little, leaving plants thirsty, or too much, drowning their roots. Both extremes create stress for the plant, which can lead to problems like blossom end rot, cracking fruit, and even root diseases. A tomato that doesn't get the right amount of water simply can't perform at its best, no matter how perfect the sunlight or soil may be. The key is to water deeply and less frequently, rather than giving your plants shallow daily sips. Deep watering encourages the roots to grow down into the soil, making the plant stronger and more resilient to dry spells. Shallow, erratic watering, on the other hand, keeps roots near the surface and more vulnerable to heat stress and nutrient deficiencies. Consistency is far more important than fancy schedules or overthinking every drop. Your tomatoes will thank you. Mulching around your tomato plants can also make a huge difference. A thick layer of organic mulch, like straw or shredded leaves, helps retain soil moisture, reduces temperature fluctuations, and even suppresses weeds that compete for water. Pair this with a drip irrigation system or soaker hose, and you can maintain a steady, gentle supply of water directly to the roots without washing nutrients away, or wetting the foliage too much, which can invite disease. Finally, pay attention to the signs your plant gives you. Wilting during the heat of the day doesn't always mean your plant is thirsty. It may just be using water faster than it can absorb it. Look for leaves that are consistently curling, yellowing, or dropping, and adjust your watering schedule accordingly. With steady moisture and a little observation, you'll prevent water-related stress and set your tomatoes up for strong growth, vibrant leaves, and abundant fruit. Mistake number 3 is neglecting to prune your tomato plants. Many gardeners assume that letting their plants grow freely will naturally produce more fruit, but the opposite is often true. Without proper pruning, tomato plants can become overcrowded with foliage, which reduces airflow and sunlight penetration. This creates a breeding ground for diseases and pests, while forcing the plant to spend energy on leaves instead of developing larger, healthier fruits. One of the most common pruning tasks is removing suckers, those small shoots that grow in the angle between the main stem and a branch. Left unchecked, suckers can quickly take over the plant, making it bushy and dense. By carefully removing them, you help your tomato focus its energy on producing fruit rather than excess foliage. Pruning lower leaves once the plant is established also keeps the plant tidy and reduces the risk of soil-borne diseases splashing up onto the leaves. Pruning isn't just about disease prevention. It's about efficiency. A well-pruned tomato plant has better air circulation, which dries leaves more quickly after rain or watering and minimizes fungal problems. It also allows sunlight to reach more of the plant, ensuring even ripening of fruits. By directing the plant's energy toward fruit production rather than uncontrolled leaf growth, you end up with bigger, juicier tomatoes and a healthier, more manageable plant. Learning proper pruning techniques may take a little practice, but the payoff is significant. Start small, removing only the obvious suckers and lower leaves, and watch how your plant responds. Over time, you'll get a feel for when and where to prune, making it a simple part of your routine. A few careful snips can transform a tangled, unproductive tomato into a strong fruit-bearing champion. Mistake number 4 is poor fertilization practices. Many gardeners either over-fertilize their tomato plants, especially with nitrogen, or they neglect feeding them at all. Too much nitrogen leads to lush, leafy growth, but very few fruits, while too little fertilizer can stunt overall plant development and result in weak, undersized tomatoes. Getting the balance right is essential for a healthy, productive harvest. Tomatoes need a balanced approach to nutrients throughout their growing season. At planting, a general-purpose fertilizer gives young plants the boost they need to establish strong roots and stems. But once flowering begins, it's important to switch to a formula lower in nitrogen and higher in phosphorus and potassium. These nutrients encourage flower and fruit development rather than just leaf growth, helping your plants produce the plump, flavorful tomatoes you're aiming for. Side dressing your tomatoes every 3 to 4 weeks is an easy way to maintain consistent nutrition. Simply apply fertilizer along the base of the plant, avoiding direct contact with the stem or leaves. For gardeners who prefer organic methods, compost, fish emulsion, and bone meal are excellent alternatives. They not only feed the plant, but also improve soil structure and microbial activity, creating a healthier environment for long-term growth. Keep an eye on your plants for signs of nutrient imbalance. Yellowing leaves can indicate a deficiency, while overly vigorous leafy growth with little fruit may mean too much nitrogen. Adjust your feeding strategy accordingly, and your tomato plants will reward you with strong growth, abundant flowers, and a bountiful harvest. Proper fertilization is one of the most effective ways to turn a struggling tomato plant into a thriving one. Mistake number 5 is ignoring support and spacing for your tomato plants. Tomatoes are vigorous growers, and without proper support their stems can easily break under the weight of heavy fruit. Plants that are too close together also create crowded conditions that limit airflow, encouraging the spread of disease and making harvesting more difficult. Proper spacing and support are essential for healthy, productive plants. Spacing depends on the variety, but generally tomato plants should be 24 to 36 inches apart. This gives each plant enough room to grow without competing for sunlight, water, and nutrients. Crowded plants not only struggle to thrive, but they also increase the risk of fungal infections, because the foliage stays damp longer. By giving your tomatoes adequate space, you create a healthier environment that allows each plant to flourish. Support structures like stakes, cages, or trellises are equally important. Install them at planting time to avoid damaging the roots later. As your tomato grows, gently tie the stems to the support to keep them upright. This prevents fruit from resting on the ground, where it can rot or attract pests, and it reduces the likelihood of broken stems during windy days or heavy rains. Using proper spacing and support isn't just about plant health. It also makes your life easier. Upright, well-supported plants are easier to water, prune, and harvest. You'll spend less time dealing with disease, broken stems, and wasted fruit, and more time enjoying a bountiful, beautiful harvest. A little planning at the start of the season pays off in stronger plants, higher yields and healthier tomatoes. Before we wrap up, here's a bonus tip that can really make a difference in your tomato harvest. Always pay attention to the bottom leaves. The lower 6 to 8 inches of foliage are most at risk for disease, because they're closest to the soil, where harmful fungi and bacteria can easily splash up during watering or rain. By carefully removing these leaves, you reduce the chance of soil-borne diseases reaching the rest of the plant. This simple step keeps your tomato plants healthier throughout the season and helps them focus energy on producing fruit rather than fighting infections. Another quick win is planting companion flowers like marigolds nearby. Marigolds naturally repel some common garden pests, including nematodes and certain insects that can damage your tomatoes. Not only do they provide a natural form of pest control, but they also add beauty to your garden. Integrating these companion plants into your garden layout can give you healthier tomatoes and a more balanced ecosystem overall. Crop rotation is another underrated strategy. Avoid planting tomatoes in the same spot year after year. Rotating crops prevents the buildup of soil-borne diseases and pests that target tomatoes specifically. It also helps maintain soil fertility, as different plants have different nutrient demands. By planning your garden layout each year, you protect your tomatoes and improve the overall health of your soil, setting the stage for better harvests season after season. Finally, combining these small practices, removing bottom leaves, using companion plants and rotating crops creates a proactive approach to growing tomatoes. Instead of constantly reacting to problems, you're preventing them before they even appear. These subtle adjustments can dramatically improve plant vigor, fruit quality, and yield. With a little attention to detail, your tomatoes can thrive like never before, giving you abundant, juicy fruits that make all your gardening efforts worthwhile. To wrap up, let's quickly recap the 5 most common mistakes gardeners make when growing tomatoes. Planting too early, inconsistent watering, neglecting to prune, poor fertilization, and ignoring support and spacing can all quietly sabotage your harvest. Each of these mistakes may seem small on its own, but together they can mean the difference between a handful of tomatoes and a bountiful, thriving crop. Recognizing these pitfalls is the first step toward giving your plants the care they truly need. The good news is that none of these mistakes are permanent. They can all be corrected with a little knowledge and attention. By planting at the right time, watering consistently, pruning effectively, feeding your plants properly, and giving them the space and support they need, you set the stage for healthy growth, stronger plants and more delicious tomatoes. Gardening is a learning process, and even small improvements can yield significant results. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Timeless Gardening for more practical tips, and leave a comment below telling us which of these mistakes you've been making. Sharing your experiences helps the whole community grow better together, and I'd love to hear what works for you in your own garden. Your input might even inspire someone else to have a record-breaking tomato season. Finally, keep an eye out for our next video, where we'll explore another way to take your garden to the next level. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And remember, attentive care, patience, and a few smart strategies can transform your tomato harvest from average to extraordinary. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.